Right on. I'll kick it off. Bill, thanks for setting this up, man. Really appreciate it. Now's a good time as we have some new exciting news that just went live recently. But with that, before we dive into it, good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Grody. I think I've probably at this point met most of you by now, but if not, I am the RVP or wholesaler here to support you all. I work with a team, an internal team. I have a virtual wholesaler rep as well as an internal partner. I'm going to put in the chat for you guys because I think it's important, when you're working with these insurance carriers, you have somebody on the inside here to help you out. So I put in the
Mhm.
chat for you guys. Hopefully everybody can see that. A few bits of contact information. Okay, the first phone number there, you see it says FE Express. We'll talk about that product here today, but I want to make sure you have that phone number saved in your phone, okay? If you're writing any FE Express policies, you're going to need this number at some point. If you need to update banking
What?
information, billing information, etc., you can do it. I'm gonna try to mute everybody here. All right, cool. You can do it through that phone number. Okay, so again, if the client needs to update beneficiary information, billing information, or if you want to help them out with that, you can call that 800-453-1448 number for FE Express. If you don't know where to start, the sales desk is a great option. They are available 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. The guys on the
I
sales
don't see
desk,
the number. Scott, I don't see the number.
do you
I see
see?
you. I see you.
Okay,
Looking good.
I appreciate you. Do you see the chat function? It might for me.
Oh, it's in the chat. Okay.
Yeah, in the chat. It's
Sorry.
sorry for me. It's in the bottom of the
Sorry
screen.
about that.
Open up the chat there so you can that way you can copy and paste it on your end.
Gotcha.
Yeah, cool. I appreciate you saying that because you're probably not alone. So, all right, so cool. That's the FE Express support number, and then that sales desk number. Like I said, those guys are a wealth of knowledge. They pick up within just a couple of rings, so it's usually no wait time there. If you don't know where to start, you have a question on an application, product, quoting, you name it. Uh, I hate to call them that, but like sometimes it's like the dumping ground. If you don't know where to start, you start there. And those guys a lot of times know at least where to get you started. So call those guys. Beyond that, that's my cell phone number. That's my direct number. If you guys need, you can text me, call me, or email me. My email's there. And then my two internal partners, Jason and Cam, in their direct contact information as well. So just want to get that housekeeping out of the way because, like I said, I know it's important when you guys are working with a number of carriers that you have someone on the inside to help get you a quick answer. So we are here for you. You got a team behind you, and we are happy to help you out however we can. Maribel, hey, good to see you. Do you have a question?
Oh, hi everybody. How are you doing? Having a
Hey.
hard time getting in. That's why. So I was
Oh,
late.
okay. All right. Sorry. I thought it had popped up with a question. Okay. Good to see you. All right. So I'm going to give you guys a quick update on our FE Express product today. For those of you guys who are new, this is a newer product to us. We launched it at the end of 2024. It has truly been a game changer. This product is lightning fast. It's one of the easiest applications on the market. And I truly mean that. If you're doing virtual sales, which I'll show you what that looks like here in a bit, but it's one of the easiest virtual sales signature processes, which is really important. We've got a lot of momentum. We've got a lot of momentum. We know you guys have options. And so we keep trying to make this product a little bit better, a little bit better. And I think we're in a really good place right now. I think, when it comes to, choosing a carrier, there's really three ways or three important factors. Um, and one of which, when it comes to final expense sales, name brand is an important decision, right? Clients are going to recognize Transamerica. We've been around for 120 plus years. And not that the name is everything, but there's a lot of other carriers out there that clients just don't know. They don't trust. They're smaller companies, and therefore, they might get a policy, but maybe they don't trust it fully, and it might fall off the books because of that later on. We have just been unofficially noted as one of the top five largest insurance carriers in the US. And this is all due to our significant climb over the last year and a half with our new express policies. So we have taken on a ton more business thanks to all of you guys. So we are now one of the top 5 largest insurance carriers in the US. We are the only final expense or insurance carrier that offers final expense in the top 10. So that puts things kind of into perspective. We are not going anywhere. We are in it to win it. We're in it for the long haul. So, you can trust that, of course. The other piece I would say, that's important when you're choosing a final expense carrier is underwriting, right? And we are working, I would say, we have some folks internally that are working harder than probably any other insurance carrier to get your clients day one coverage, right? When you're choosing final expense, you want to make sure you're giving your clients day one coverage as much as possible. And we are taking on a lot of risk right now, guys. We have been taking on a lot of risk. We are getting more folks approved for day one coverage. I'm going to talk about the big four here in a bit. But we're trying really, really hard to get as many folks approved for day one that have conditions or multiple conditions. Okay. So just know that underwriting is very, very competitive. And then thirdly, the value that this product brings isn't just in the underwriting and the name brand, but also with this FE Express policy, we have, a funeral planning concierge rider built into it. You guys who have been around for a minute know it used to be Everest, right? Everest was that funeral planning concierge rider. As of July 1st, that has changed. Okay, so July 1st, any policies written July 1st or after are going to have empathy. Empathy is a funeral planning concierge rider. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute, but just know that this is a really good improvement to this product. Not to say Everest was bad. I think Everest was a great company, but Empathy has, in my opinion, a much better platform for both you and for the clients, much more user friendly, and even have a few more enhancements. So Bill, we might want to even circle back at some point and we have an empathy rep and bring on the empathy rep to just do an all empathy focused training because I think it would be very powerful. I'll give you guys a little teaser today of what I know, but we can bring on that specialist another time and have her do the full deep dive into their platform so you guys can really see why it's important, why there's value in it, not just for the client, but for you guys, right? So when you go deeper with a client and you get them set up with their empathy account, you may uncover more assets. You may be able to pivot and offer them an annuity or something additional, right? So that's where it becomes really, really impactful to your guys' business. And then also it's going to help you guys out with your persistency, right? When you take the time to set them up with empathy, they'll remember that. And next time, an agent reaches out to them to get them life insurance, they're going to remember, hey, this agent went the extra mile for me. They got me set up with empathy. This other guy doesn't have access to that. So they're going to probably stick with you, right? So with that, what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to share screen. And then I want to give you guys a pretty quick highlight because I think you probably at this point know the product pretty well. I'm still waiting on our presentation deck to get updated with the new information that just went live, but I will share that as we get to it here. Okay, perfect. So on the screen, you guys should now see Transamerica FE Express Solutions. Again, this is where we have the new enhancements to the product that I'm going to share with you guys now. So very, very high level. This is a final expense product at its core. It is immediate coverage. There is no back and forth with new business. There's no back and forth with underwriting. You get the approval in the middle of the application before you even put in beneficiary and banking info, right? Start to finish is a 10-minute application. It's taking less than that actually on average now, but very, very quick, easy application. It's not on iGo. Okay, if you're familiar with iGo, this is on our platform, and I'm going to show you guys where to access it, so don't worry about that at the moment. But just know that the platform is much more user-friendly than iGo or iPipeline, and I think you'll really like it if you haven't tried it yet. True Social Security billing. This is an important one. You guys are going to run into a client at some point who is on Social Security. and wants to pay with a direct express card. We accept that. And not only do we accept it, we will still advance commission for you on Social Security billing. Okay, so we still accept it. We still advance commission. We do it really well. When we say true Social Security billing, it means even on an off-cycle payment, we're going to get to that money really quickly. So in a situation where their deposit, their deposit is supposed to happen on let's say Monday, but that happens to be a holiday, right? So they actually in that situation would get their deposit the Friday before. Our bank knows that, and we're actually getting to the money and pulling it out the Friday before that holiday within hours of them getting that deposit. And so what that means is we're getting the money quickly, and it's going to help you guys out with your persistency. In a situation like that with some other carriers who don't do true Social Security billing, what's going to happen is they're going to try to pull the money out the Tuesday after that holiday, after that Monday holiday. By that time, right, they got the deposit on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They've used all that money most of the time. And so by the time Tuesday rolls around and that insurance carrier tries to pull the money out of their account on Tuesday, it's insufficient funds, and that agent has to try to help recover that policy, get it back on the books. That's why if you guys have somebody who's on Social Security billing, I highly, highly recommend do it with a carrier who does true Social Security billing. It's going to help you guys out, keep that policy on the books, okay? High commissions. This is your highest paid final expense offering that you guys have, and we pay very quickly, right? We pay really quickly. We don't reduce commissions at certain ages. So whether it's a juvenile or it's an 85-year-old, you're going to get that same high commission level. Okay. Some carriers reduce commissions at age 70, 75. For us, again, whether it's a juvenile or an 85-year-old, you're going to get that same high commission. Underwriting rules, again, we'll touch on that here in a bit. Just know that we're very, very competitive. We are getting more folks approved for day one coverage than just about any other carrier out there. Okay. We are working really hard to do that, and we're going to continue to do that. Empathy, that's that funeral planning rider that I mentioned earlier. I'll give you guys a quick run through of what that platform kind of looks like through your agent portal here in a second. But just know when they get their FE Express policy, they're also going to get a welcome kit from Empathy in the mail. It's going to outline all of their options that they get and functionality that they get with Empathy. It'll give them access to their online portal with Empathy where they can log in and create things like a living will, a trust, other financial documents that can be housed in there. And that, again, is where you can go deeper with that client when you get them set up with Empathy. You can, really nail that sale, make sure that, nobody's coming behind you. You're going to give them that value. Nobody's coming behind you to resell that client. High face amounts. I think we're one of the few carriers that offers up to $100,000 of coverage on final expense, and then simple signature process. I'll touch on that here in a bit too. So this is where things need to be updated. Okay, so there's really three outcomes on the application now. So we have your approved day one coverage, your approved graded, or decline. There's no refer to underwriter. There's no needs more information. Those are the three outcomes. Within the approved as applied for, approved day one coverage, which is going to be this kind of darker column on the left, you notice here it says select non-tobacco and select tobacco for the risk classes. This is one of our new enhancements. This is one of our new improvements. This just went live the other day. We now have what we're calling premier rates. All right. Premier rates are going to be like equivalent to preferred with other carriers. So we now have premier and select. All right. And that is now live. I think one of the things, so for your healthier clients, right, they're going to get approved for day one coverage with a better rate than just select, right? I think for a long time, we're getting a good look at all the clients who have medical conditions, but not necessarily clients who have, no major health concerns, right? The healthy clients. Now we have an option for them where they can get a much better rate, which is called, again, Premier. I think one of the things that I've heard so far is that, and what I'm excited about is not only are we offering premier rates, but we're offering it at a higher percentage, or we're planning on it, right? So we're shooting for about 30 to 40% approvals as premier rates. 30 to 40% approvals for premier rates is really, really high. I think most carriers on their preferred rates is usually about 8 to 15%. And if we're getting, you know, 30 to 40%, that's a lot more approvals at a better rate, which is a big, big deal. Okay, so just know that we're fighting hard with our underwriting to get folks the best rate possible. We think we're going to get a lot of folks approved for that premier rate, which is going to significantly impact their premium. So very, very excited for that update. The other thing you notice here, it says issue age 18 to 85, right? That was one of the lowest in the industry, 18 years old. Well, we just enhanced this as well. Okay, so now we are taking juveniles on this policy. So 15 days old, just 2 weeks old, up to age 85, we are offering this product. Okay, so juveniles are now live, Premier is now live. The one thing to note, you can notice the product minimum is $5,000, right? It goes up to $100,000 up to age 75, and then age 76 to 85 goes up to 25K. Now, for Premier rates, the minimum face amount on Premier is going to be 10,000. Okay, so just want to be upfront about that. Anything below 10,000 will not qualify for Premier rates. It's going to be select. Okay, so anything again below 10,000, the only risk class available below $10,000 of coverage is called select. Going to be like a standard risk class. Okay. So that's the one option, right? Approved day one coverage. Awesome. We're doing that as much as possible. We're fighting really hard to do that. And then the other option, if they don't get approved for day one coverage, is graded, right? So, okay, unfortunately, you did not qualify for day one coverage based on your medical history. We are still going to offer you coverage, but it's going to be on a graded death benefit, meaning if the client has this policy and were to pass away in the first two years, we're going to return premium plus 10% to that beneficiary. After that 2-year anniversary, it works like a traditional death benefit. Okay, so graded as somebody who, again, does not qualify medically for day one coverage. They've got more medical conditions or health history just doesn't allow them to qualify for day one. And for that reason, higher risk, the product maximum on that is only $25,000. And then age 18 to 80, that is still accurate here for age range. All right, so very quickly, a lot going on the screen. All you need to know, flexible payment options. We advance commission on everything except for debit card and credit card. Debit card and credit card are going to be paid out commissions as earned. Okay, so if it's an ACH bank draft or Social Security billing, we will pay advance commission. If it is debit card or credit card, we pay as earned. As far as the underwriting goes, we again are very, very aggressive with our underwriting. We're focusing on getting more folks approved for day one than anyone else out there. There's really 4 areas though that I think we're probably one of the best carriers on the market. Number one, CHF. I think we're still one of the only carriers that offers day one coverage for somebody who has congestive heart failure. So if you have anybody that you run into who has CHF, even if it's just a touch of CHF, we are going to be probably one of their only options to possibly get day one coverage. So definitely take a look at us for that. COPD, very, very competitive with COPD. Day one coverage for somebody who has COPD. Diabetes. Is there a question? Diabetes. All right. Diabetes with complications, right? Neuropathy, kidney disease, we will still offer day one coverage for somebody who is a diabetic. And then last one is I just say heart issues, heart attack, heart disease, heart failure. We will still offer day one coverage select. I was just at a conference this past weekend, and I had an agent come up to me and say, they're like, man, I cannot believe I had a client who just had they had like a stent put in or a valve replaced or something in their heart like 6 weeks ago. And we gave them day one coverage. And it's just, stories like that I hear, frequently when I go to these conferences. heart issues are a big one, guys. You're going to run into it. We are very competitive when it comes to heart issues. So if you have anybody who has had a valve replaced or had a heart attack, or even a stroke, we are very competitive in those areas. Definitely take a look at us. I do want to mention that we do definitely decline folks, so that is going to happen, and it just comes down to their overall health score. This is just basically showing that, look, guys, we will approve for somebody who has multiple unrelated conditions. In this situation, we have a 75-year-old with COPD, diabetes with neuropathy, MS, and Parkinson's, and we're saying we would still approve them for day one coverage. There's a lot going on for day one, right? Here's another one, 60 years old, diabetes, neuropathy, lupus, and emphysema. And we're saying, yep, day one coverage. And then congestive heart failure and diabetes, we're saying this is not as good for us, so we're going to approve graded. And then lastly, anytime you see two major failures, kidney failure and congestive heart failure, you're going to have a decline, right? Two major failures, you'll have a decline. All right, let's see. I think we had some questions. I'm just checking out the chat real quick. All right, so I will get the guide for you guys here in a moment. Let's do this. So here's a few enhancements that we improved in 2025. The product's still not perfect, but we are definitely heading in the right direction with these enhancements. Third-party payers now available. Clients can have multiple policies, which they could not originally. Policy promise is a big one. I really like the policy promise is something when you get to the end of the application and you fully submit it. I especially like the policy promise where you have a situation where you're not drafting premium immediately, but you have a future draft date. So today is the 28th. Let's say you're drafting the first premium on the 15th of next month. Okay. In that situation, you submit the application today, but between today and the 15th of next month, the client's not really receiving anything from you or from Transamerica, right? So there sometimes, especially on virtual sales, there's this discomfort or this weariness from a client. Maybe somebody else approaches the client in the interim, another agent, and creates, some confusion. And what I appreciate about this policy promise is what you do in this situation is you submit the application, you download that policy promise, or you print it out for them and you give it to them right away. It looks real official from Transamerica. It's got our header on there and it outlines all the things they're signing up for. So it's basically an overview of what they're getting, and it's something to kind of ease their and put their mind at ease in between, you taking the application and us actually drafting premium, 15 days later and putting the policy in force. So I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit where you can access that, but definitely recommend, especially if you have a future draft, to download that policy promise and get it to the client as quickly as possible. Have them open it up. Hey, this is what you're signing up for. Everything looked good, and make sure they're good with that.
Scott, will this be available for all products or just this one?
The policy promise is just available for this product. Yeah.
And how are you
good
doing?
question.
I'm sorry, I'm late.
Good to see you. I'm doing well. All right, so where you access this, guys, is through your agent portal. You have to be appointed with Transamerica to get access to this product. So where you go is secure.transamerica.com, right? You register, you log in, and on the homepage, you got a bunch of these, we call them tiles, right? These little tiles here. You're going to look for the FE Express and FFIUL2 Express online application tile. When you hit the launch button, it's going to pull you to a page that looks similar to this. It'll have all of your policies you wrote in the last 30 days listed right here, so you can check the status of those. And then at the top, you can, start a new application. You can pre-qualify somebody for final expense, or you can get a quote. The pre-qualification tool here is just as good as the information you put into it. So where you would use this is you have a client who says, hey, I've got COPD and diabetes. And you go, okay, well, let's see what carriers are available. And you can go into this part right here, click that pre-qualification. You can select diabetes and COPD. and it'll tell you based off of these conditions, we believe that it's worth submitting an application. They could get approved for day one or not. Again, it doesn't pull their MIB or script check, so it's only as good as the info you put into it. But a good, quick, easy way to see if, a combination of conditions might be approved by the carrier. All right, cool. I'm going to take this off of screen share real quick. And then let's see here, slideshow. Cool. Okay. Let's do this. I'm going to show you guys quickly where you access this new empathy tile. Okay. This is a newer enhancement to your agent portal. So, again, yours is going to look similar to mine, but it's not going to be exact. You'll have some different tiles available. So when you log into your agent portal, secure.transamerica.com, again, it'll look similar to this. We've got our quote tool right here, the Transamerica Life Illustrator. It does not quote the FE Express policy at this time. We're working on an enhancement any day now. It should have it. But this is going to be for definitely all of our IGO application products. What we're looking for is for that FE Express and FFIUL2 Express online application tile. I don't have it here, unfortunately, because I'm home office, so they don't give me access to it. But you would have a tile that would say that, and that's where you would go for the product we just talked about. One thing I do want to note is managing your block of business. Transamerica Life Access is a really great spot that I would recommend. Get in the habit of going here often. Okay, so you would go hit that launch button, and the next page, unfortunately, mine again wouldn't take us anywhere because I'm not an agent. But once you click this, on the next page, you have an in-force and you have a pending tab. Okay, and what you can do is look at your block of business. You can see the status of those policies. But what I really like about it is once you hit this launch button here, on the top right area, you'll have a little bell, like a notification bell. And I personally, as an agent, would get in the habit of going in here and checking this bell every other day because it's going to notify you of any missed premiums, any draft issues, any lapses, and so that you can quickly get back in touch with an agent or with a client and try to get that policy back within good standing. It's probably, I think, unfortunately, that's probably the best way to manage those situations versus I don't really have any other great reporting that feeds automatically. So unless you're just paying really close attention to the emails that are sent your way, I highly recommend you get into your agent portal here and check out the Life Access. Click on that notifications button in the top right corner. There's a little bell with a little red signal notifying you that, hey, there's something here you got to look at. It'll list out, in numerical order. Okay, this just happened yesterday. This policy missed a premium. You can click on it, find the details of what the policy is, who the client is, and then you can reach out to that client to try to work to get that policy back on the books. So highly, highly recommend getting in the habit of doing that. Okay, so as we scroll down here, you have this new tile here called Empathy Connect. Okay, so again, Empathy is that new funeral planning concierge rider that's built into the FE Express policy, right? So when they get their FE Express policy, they will also get access to Empathy. It's the only way the client can get access to Empathy. So hit the launch button here, you as the agent do. Oh, I logged out. Let's try this again. All right, so you hit the launch button for Empathy Connect. And then from here, and I recommend you guys can get in here and play around with this on your own as well. But we've got a few different options that you can kind of click on. One is for policyholders, right? So we've got some marketing materials and brochures for policyholders. We have a section for beneficiaries, right? So this is like loss support flyer for beneficiaries. And then you as the agent, you have access to share like social media, proactive posts. So you can take this and plug it into your Facebook, plug it into your Instagram. So I recommend if you guys have a chance later today, get in here and click on some of this stuff, familiarize with it yourself with it. One of the things I like about Empathy is the Life Vault. This is where they can quickly go in and fill out, financial documents. They can create living wills and trusts, and then they can actually house like uh, passwords and account information so that, when they do pass away, that it can be automatically fed out to the specific person. Say they want their daughter to have access to their bank accounts once they pass away. Boom. They can have that all set up ahead of time through the Life Vault. So pretty cool stuff available in there. The other thing I actually is on the empathy note, I do want to mention they do a really good job of negotiating down prices on behalf of that beneficiary. So when that time comes and client passes away, beneficiary gets in touch with empathy, and they're figuring out what they want to do for the funeral planning if it wasn't already preset by the insured. That beneficiary will tell that empathy, okay, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z for this funeral. Empathy is going to reach out to the funeral homes in that area and get a price, and then they're going to go one by one and say, hey, give me the best price because I'm going to the next funeral home, and they can end up saving that beneficiary thousands of dollars while they're planning that funeral. So that's an added benefit. I think that's not talked about enough with empathy or with these funeral planners. But I know you and I don't live in that space, right? Empathy does. This is what they do. And unfortunately, funeral homes sometimes can take advantage of some folks. And when empathy knows their tactics and knows how to work with them, again, they can save that beneficiary a lot of money when it comes time to plan those funerals. So a nice added feature I just definitely want to call out when you work with these funeral planners. Okay, I'm going to pivot real quick and we're going to go to this demo so you guys can see what this looks like, what the app flow looks like. All right, so this is the FE Express app flow. Again, to access this, you go through your agent portal. You would go to FE Express and FFIUL2 Express online application. It takes you here. New application, pre-qualifier, get a quote. We're going to get a quote. And in fact, I can put this one in the chat for you guys too, real quick, so you have access to it right now. Cool. I just put that in the chat for you guys. So you can click along if you'd like as well. You do have to just kind of click where it says to click, and then it'll pre-fill stuff for you. So here we have a female, born in 1990. We have the FE Express solution product selected. Now, when you select risk class, it's going to ask us now, Premier, select non-tobacco or select tobacco. Just to note, there is no Premier tobacco rating. Okay, so for tobacco, it's just select. Okay, Premier, and then select non-tobacco and select tobacco, graded tobacco and graded non-tobacco. If you select Premier, again, the minimum face amount that you can quote or a client can be issued, the minimum face amount is $10,000 of coverage. Okay. So if we hit this, it's going to pre-fill. Okay, we quoted 25,000, 39 a month. We're going to start application. It's going to ask us, is this an in-person sale or is this a virtual sale? We'll choose virtual. Whoops. We put in a little bit of personal information there. You're going to put in your agent number, right? Select the product again. Do they use nicotine? No nicotine. Intended coverage amount, 25K, right? That's what we quoted. I'm going to call it a glitch, but apparently it was designed this way. If you chose, where I chose to do the quote at the beginning here, instead of choosing to do a quote, if you went right into the application from there, so if we did not do a quote first, but you went straight to the application and you got to this section here, the minimum face amount defaults to 10,000. and I'm lobbying to try to get that fixed because the product minimum's 5,000, right? But if you avoid the quote and you go straight into the application, again, right here, you'd run into trouble if you're trying to quote below 10,000 because it just won't allow it. But if you go back to the quote first, just how I did, then it'll allow you to do less than $10,000. Just as a heads up. We're working on getting that fixed, but just want to be upfront about that in case you run into it. Do they consent to do business electronically? Yes. Any existing policies? All right. So again, client's personal information, and then we're going to do the health and lifestyle questions. So we save the personal info, health and lifestyle questions. This is an ideal candidate, right? No issues. Lifestyle information, save that. And now it's going to ask us, do we want to do an email delivery signature process or a text message delivery process? We're going to choose text message, verify the phone number is accurate. One thing to note, I did find this out. If a client says that they did not receive the text message, right? This has happened. Sometimes, somehow, it ends up in their junk or spam folder, which I had no idea we had on our phones. But there is a function in your text messages for spam. If you have a iPhone, I think it's spam folder, and same thing on Android. Just Google it if you can't find it and check it in there. A lot of times, if the client did not receive their text message, it ended up in that spam folder somehow. So just check that out. They accept terms and conditions. All right, and we're going to confirm and send documents via text message to the client now for this to start the signature process. Right, so we've answered the health questions, lifestyle questions. Client's going to sign the app, and then you sign the app. Right, so this is their text message they receive. It's a 3-part text. Really, all they need to do at this point is just give you this 6-digit PIN code. Right, if they read that to you over the phone right now, and you input it into the app, you could move forward. That would be their signature. What you were going to experience here is a client who wants to view their documents. Okay, so they're going to click on this link here to view their documents. They would have to put in their date of birth and last 4 of their social. They hit continue. All of their forms are going to be right here where they can open up these PDFs and take a look at them if they'd like to. That 6-digit PIN code's at the bottom for you again. They give that to you over the phone. You're going to input it into the application here and agree and sign the document for the client, right? This is a virtual signature for the client. You're going to do your agent commission disclosure. How long have you known the client? And then you are going to sign the document on your end, of the application rather. It's checking for approval, and then boom, within seconds, you've got an approval. You'll notice here it says eligible for coverage up to $100,000. Right, we quoted 25,000, remember? But because of the age of this client and them getting day 1 coverage, it's going to say you're eligible for coverage up to 100,000. At this point, you have another conversation with the client. Hey, how does that premium feel? You want to move it down? Do you want to move it up? You're just going to lock in coverage here. And you can see the approved risk class here is Premier. Awesome. You hit continue. And they're going to actually adjust the face amount here from 25,000 that we previously quoted. They're going to bump it up to 40,000. And then they're going to lock in coverage and move forward. There's no going back through underwriting. There's no additional forms or approval. Because we approved them initially up to the maximum, the 100,000, if they adjusted coverage up to 40,000, again, all we're doing at this point is just confirming coverage and moving forward, okay? Now from here, you go right into the beneficiary information, pretty standard stuff, and then payment information. Save the payment information. Dun, dun, dun. All right, and we have one more signature process at the end. All right, client's going to receive another text message, 3-part text message. They're going to have that PIN code, a new PIN code in there. They give that to you over the phone. You input it into the app. Same process as before, just a new 6-digit PIN code. Again, this client wants to review their documents, so they're going to put in their date of birth and last four of their social. They're going to verify everything looks good, okay? This all looks good. They give you that PIN code, and then you put it into the app and you're off to the races. That's the signature for the client. For you as the agent, you're just clicking in the box. It inputs signature for you, and then you're going to save and confirm purchase. Boom. At that point, this application is fully submitted to Transamerica. It's done. Awesome. Congratulations. Here is where I would say, again, if you have especially if you have a future draft date, this is where you pause. One more step here, I would say, download this policy promise. This is where you do that. Okay. So you download the policy promise. Again, it outlines all the bits of information, when their draft date is, who's the beneficiary, all the information is going to be outlined there. And you're going to download that and send it straight to the client, or print it out and give it to the client. It's going to help you kind of solidify that sale, and again, kind of reduce the questions if you have a future draft date. When's my policy coming? Etc. So definitely, I recommend take a step here, download that policy promise, and get that to the client ASAP. All right, cool. I breezed through that. Let me see if I can take this off of share mode real quick. And if anybody, I'll just go to the chat real quick and see what questions we have. Underwriting rules, yeah. Actually, you know what, guys? I'm going to send a follow-up email to Bill to get out to you guys. I'm going to send all the documents to you, all the new updated links so that you have them. Does 100K FV go down the client terms? Oh, face. Okay. So Sheila, no. So if a client gets $100,000 of coverage, let's say even if they're 74 years old, they get $100,000 of coverage at age 74. When they turn 76, they still have $100,000 all the way through. As long as they're paying their premium, that policy's in force, they're going to have a $100,000 policy. Okay. At 76, what changes is if, for instance, a client is applying for coverage at age 76, then they're limited to only $25,000 of coverage. They cannot get more than $25,000. So age 76 and up, for folks who are just applying for coverage, that is where they're limited to only $25,000 of coverage. But if a client has a policy under, they're 75 or younger, they have a policy and it's $100,000, they can have that $100,000 all the way through the life of that policy, even if they live to age 100. Kidney disease is a fail. Jacqueline, tell me more about that. Is that in our guide?
Not sure. Just want to know if someone is getting dialysis. Is that an instant fail?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So here, let me share my screen with you all real quick. Actually, oh, yeah. So this link doesn't come through for some reason, but let me try it one more time. Shoot. Okay. Yeah, I'll follow up with Bill so that you guys have this, but let me share my screen one more time here. So dialysis, if they've had it for diagnosed less than a year, graded, 1 to 5 years would be select risk class, like standard. And then if they've had been on dialysis more than 5 years, they can still get premier. But again, I'll send this to Bill so he can get out to everybody on the call, because for some reason the link's not working in the chat for you guys. But it'll give you guys the outline. I think a lot of the value in this product is going to be not just getting folks approved for day one coverage, who have conditions, but for those healthier clients who just have one or two conditions that would be standard with a lot of carriers, we're going to get approved for preferred or premier. So I think, again, we're shooting for 30 to 40% approvals as premier. Many carriers out there are around 8 to 15% approvals for preferred. Yeah, Tishala. So the link that I sent, I'll try to put it back in the chat here. The link that I sent earlier. No, there. Yeah. So I just put in the chat again for you. Click on that demo. This is the one that I just went through with you guys. That demo, you can click through and see what that signature process looks like, so that way you familiarize yourself with that process. So it's in there. Just click through, excuse me, until you get to that signature process where you choose email or text message. And then you can just go through it however many times you want and kind of practice what that looks like. Linda, I'm not sure with amputation, diabetes with amputation, what that looks like. I don't know if it calls it out here. Yeah, I don't have specific info on diabetes with amputation. Let me see. Okay, I do actually. So amputation not due to trauma. So I would consider that diabetes, right? Not a car accident, essentially. Uh, Amputation not due to trauma ever would be a decline. So if they had an amputation due to diabetes, it would be a decline. And I'll definitely, like I said, I'll follow up guys with Bill and get you guys all the marketing links so that you're equipped. Again, I think the big thing here is we are, premier rates are live, juvenile is live. We're working on getting as many folks approved for day one coverage. And not only that, we're getting more folks approved for preferred or premier rates to give them that best risk class. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I appreciate everybody on the call today. If anybody has any last minute questions, feel free we can open it up now and answer any questions y'all have. Oh, you know what? If anybody's thinking, one last thing I want to share with you guys, not focused on Express. We've been really, really competitive in the term space for a long time. We have two term products, Trendsetter Super and Trendsetter LB. We just enhanced our non-med limits. So, it's a fully underwritten product, but we have quick underwriting for those healthier clients. So non-med means no having to do an exam. We now can go up to $2 million up to age 55 without an exam. So up to 2 million, up to age 55 with no exam. Age 56 to 65, we can go up to $1 million with no exam. So age 56 to 65, $1 million with no exam. That is also live. This one flew under the radar. That goes for our term and actually our IUL product as well. So that's really, really good. That just went live the other day. So very, very happy with that. If y'all have any questions on that, let me know. But that's for probably your healthier clients. If they don't qualify for the non-med program and you submit a term application, it could get kicked out. Underwriters could request an exam or even an APS. So just a fair warning on that. Maribel, what you got?
Quick question. Hi. Thanks for everything. Always grateful that you're giving the training.
Of course, happy to be here.
With the insured, it has to be the same as the owner, right? The insured has to be the same as the owner, but can there be a contingent beneficiary along with the initial beneficiary in the app or no?
Okay, so there can be a contingent beneficiary, but unfortunately it's not done in the app. So
Right.
yes, you can add one. The way you would do that is a client can either do it through their client portal. After they get their policy, they have access to their client portal, transamerica.com. They go in and register, and then they can add a contingent beneficiary in that portal. Or if they call that 800 number that I put at the beginning, I'll put it back in the chat for you guys.
Okay.
But this is probably honestly the easiest way, especially for those older clients who aren't tech savvy. I would recommend just have them call the 800-453-1448 number, and they would just give the representative on the phone their policy number and their name and let them know that they are trying to add a contingent beneficiary. And they can do that over the phone on that recorded line.
Okay.
So those are the
All
two
right.
options. Either they call that 800 number or they go into their client portal.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
Hey Scott, this is Joe.
Hey Joe, how you doing?
I'm good. Good morning. Thanks for everything, man. Everything sounds
Yeah,
good. Got a quick
yeah.
question about as far as when it comes to like underwriting when it comes to driving. What's the how many years they go back?
I want to say it's 5. I can double check on that though.
Yeah, because I got a
Let me see.
client that they qualify for everything else, but I guess they're doing reckless driving. So I just want to find out what that was.
Okay, so not necessarily like a DUI or DWI, right?
Nah, I think it's minor, like maybe traffic
Oh,
tickets,
here
something
we
like that.
Oh, we got this in the guide. All right, cool. So reckless driving, less than 2 years, graded is the best option. After 2 years, premier they can get. So best risk class. So if it's been longer than 2 years, then premier is available as an option, assuming they qualify health wise.
I think it's been over 3 years. So
Perfect. So yeah, as long as their
would that
health is good, then they can get premier.
would that qualify for like an IUL as well?
Ooh, IUL is a little different underwriting.
That's what I was
Let me see.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, let me see if I
I
can
should have
pull.
led with that.
That's okay. That's okay. Let's see here. That
Hey
would make
Scott,
probably a
why?
little more sense too. How old's the client? Okay, yeah,
37,
same 37.
37.
Yes, so same thing for IUL here actually. So that's good. Within 2 years, it's actually decline because there's no graded. So decline if it's within 2 years. After 2 years, they can get select, which is the select tobacco or select non-tobacco is the only risk classes available for IUL.
Great. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
All right, you bet. You bet.
Hey Scott, can you tell or explain the benefits of just some of the competitors against the IUL Express? Just some like key high, benefits
Yeah.
for the IUL Express
Yeah.
against the other competitors. I'm
Oh,
not naming them,
absolutely.
but
Yeah, actually, let me see if I can get a screen pulled up real quick. Because I think, oh no, I don't have that one ready. A couple of things, guys. I think that our customization capabilities are far better than any other Express IUL policy out there. A lot of them are pretty cookie cutter on what you can and cannot do. And as we all know, I think one of the beautiful things about IULs is they're very customizable to fit the client's needs, right? So it's not a one size fits all product in my eyes. And for that reason, I think that our IUL is really nice. Our Express IUL is really nice because it allows for you to customize the coverage that best suits that client. So if you have a client, for instance, who is 27, right? They're starting to their first career, their income's okay, but they expect that their income's going to grow, right? So you start them out with, maybe a target premium solve because that's comfortable for them. They got the right amount of coverage, maybe, $200,000 of coverage, but they have the ability to allow that policy to grow with them, meaning they are going to be able to increase that coverage or increase their premium rather and overfund it in the future when their income increases, right? So you have this policy that can grow with them in that way, but also we have what we call like 3 one-click easy solves. So very quickly on the quote tool, you can do a minimum fund, you can do a target fund, or you can do a max fund, right? So based off of the client's needs right there, you just click one of those three buttons and it's going to customize the coverage for that situation. So if you have the client who just wants the maximum amount of coverage they can get for $150 a month, great. You're going to do the max protection solve, and it's going to create that coverage based off of the premium you're looking for, right? So that's one option. Target solve is a great way to do it because you're overfunding a little bit to kind of secure the policy. And then the max fund is going to obviously push that premium up to the maximum you can with the intention of building as much cash value as possible so that they can borrow from it later in life. So just with three one-click easy solves, you can customize coverage right there. You can also, customize on the illustration, how many years you want to pay for, right? If you want to show income. So a lot of customization in that too. And the beautiful thing about it is as you select your inputs there, those three one-click easy solves, you show your payment schedule. As you select those and adjust them on the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to have your output, which is a big, nice, beautiful chart that's going to show what the cash value looks like, what the death benefit looks like, what the premiums look like over time, and it's going to update real time for you. So there's no guessing. Again, I think is far better than any other carrier out there that does express IULs because a lot of those other ones don't show you that. You can also download the full illustration right there and use that as a presentation tool. The last thing I would say probably is our index accounts that are available are probably some of the best in the market. I know I'm biased, but Transamerica has been doing IULs for a long, long time. We were, I think, one of the first carriers ever to launch an IUL. We actually, I think it was Forbes magazine did an article probably 4 or 5 years ago now that rated us as one of the most reliable illustrations in the industry. What that means is we're not over-promising and under-delivering, right? We're illustrating reasonable illustrations based off of our indexes and what we project to happen. There's no multipliers and bonuses and figures that clients have to get smoke and mirrors. It's very simple, but the product performs, right? We're only one of 2 carriers that doesn't outsource our hedging. And the hedging is important to allow carriers to buy up their index, right? Their cap on their index, right? So that's the way every other carrier does it. They outsource it to a company in New York. And then what happens is when markets take a downturn, those other carriers have to reduce the cap, right? So they have to lower their caps because it's very costly. For us, because we don't outsource that, we continue to have high caps. So when the markets turn back up, we're capturing more on the upside because when markets turn back up, they turn back up quick, right? And so we're generally capturing more of that upside quickly on when markets rebound. And that's another reason why I think we do really well. We have 5 real index accounts available. We default to the balanced uncapped index, and it's unlike any other in the market. The balanced uncapped index, it's made up of 3 accounts, but the 20-year look back, if they took this product or this index and plugged it into the markets over the last 20 years, would have performed at 10.87%. 10.87% is one of the highest in the industry. It's got to be. It is extremely high on an IUL, right? And we illustrate on that product. Now it's kind of adjusted a little bit based on the index, but anywhere from 7.25 to 7.35, I think, at this point now based on the indexes. But the 20-year look backs are really, really strong. Again, we're not in the business of over-promising and under-delivering on our IULs. We think it's a really solid product, and it too is on the same platform as the FE Express. So no back and forth with new business and underwriting. Again, it's instant decision in the app. It's very, very clean, user-friendly, and it goes up to $500,000 of coverage, which is some of the highest in the industry. Bill, you might not know this yet, but it's going to be going up to $1 million by the end of the year. I don't have a launch date yet, but the IUL is going up to $1 million by the end of the year. It's instant decision, so I'm excited for that. Once I find out the launch date, I'll definitely be letting you know.
Well, let's definitely talk again and set up the empathy Zoom for you guys,
Yes.
so I can put that up on YouTube so people can get very familiar with that. And I just want to, guys, people watching on YouTube, please click, in the description, give this a thumbs up on here for Scott, and I know he's cutting close to the time he has to go. But I just want to thank everybody and get with us, guys. You can, Divine Insurance Group and Retire EDU Connect. We have direct-to-carrier contracts and trainings that you guys won't really see with every broker firm out there with 3 letters. A lot of them are captive or have agency agreements. They own their book of business. And we have a great GoHighLevel lead system we're putting in place right now for inbound final expense leads. So that will be coming out. You still can control your book. You don't have to pay $5,000 up front or anything like that. And you guys should be selling in all the states that Transamerica is in, which is awesome. In all 50 states plus Guam, we could be selling a lot of these products. So I'm very excited and pumped up. Been with Transamerica a long time, guys. I'm still getting renewals from over a decade from Transamerica, and they're a very good public company, very liberal in their underwriting. I have a lot of support, a lot of training, guys, and I did a lot of claims with them. They paid the claims too. I had people that died in a week as long as they paid the premium. They went through underwriting and went through. So I don't have any complaints, but great service. Yeah, they get a little busy in contracting, a little tied up. But
Hey, we're back. We're back.
yeah,
So new agents, if you're just getting contract, Bill, happy to announce contracting is caught up. They should only be taking about 4 business days now to get contracted a new agent. So if you've seen something outside of that, let me know because it's delayed. Okay.
all right. And you can have multiple writing numbers with Transamerica, right?
There are some situations where that is possible.
Yep. That's all. Some situations, guys. So you heard that. So we're going to get this out. We appreciate you, Scott. I know we'll be talking and catching up so we can do that empathy webinar.
Yes.
And we can promote that, guys, so you can really sell them on the sizzle, the benefits, the living will, power of attorney, the cloud, pictures, and all these other things that empathy comes with. It works really, really well. It's a great selling point, a great grassroots marketing point. And this is great. And I really appreciate these preferred rates and products on there because this is what's needed, pulling from Social Security, things like that, and you guys should be winning your trips. And by the way, what's the qualifications for the trips? I mean, I know that's, remember, I think it's like
Good
100K.
question. Good question. Yeah, 100K of annualized production, right? Starting January 1st to December 31st, 100K is a minimum qualification. However, we're only taking the top 40 agents this year. Okay, so top 40 agents qualify. We think that it's going to be around 130, maybe 140,000 of production credit to qualify, being the top 40.
Oh yeah. Well, then that's it. That's it, guys. You guys can do it. You guys can make it. What else should you be writing for final expense? Transamerica, unless they're guaranteed issue, then you got that option. But right now, put them in and see if they get approved. That's what I do. I just check and see if I get them approved. So test it out. But Scott, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. I know our time is up, and we just want to say we appreciate everything you do, and we're gonna put this up online and get this out to our brokers.
Sounds good. Well, Bill, thank you so much as always for the time with your team. Thank you all who stuck around this long. And again, if there's anything my team or I can help out with, please don't hesitate to reach out. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Scott.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.
Scott. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.